Hello.
So then we need enough medication, or is that what it's called?
No, it's just hormones. That's all we have. That's
We need
all we
hormones.
take.
We need to take off.
my hormones.
We can't go away for a year without
Can't leave my
hormones.
testosterone.
And I need my bloody HRT because I tell you what, if they don't give me those patches for a year,
You fall to bits.
I'll kill those kids. Honestly,
Yeah.
I will.
Hung, drawn, and quartered by the time we get to Greece.
Hello.
Daddy, I love him.
Mother thanks you.
Right, Mr. DeMille, I'm ready for my close-up.
Are you ready? There it is.
Well done, you're a pro. Make the most of that, Bri, because you won't have that machine with us when we're going around the world
will
for a
be
year.
put in the loft for a year.
Yes. Welcome back to the It's a Drama podcast. I'm Liz.
And I'm Brian.
And today we are back. It's like a part 2, isn't it?
Yes, because
last
we
week.
promised.
Yes, we promised.
Was it last week or last fortnight?
Well, whenever it was, the last podcast, we told you that we've made ourselves homeless for a year.
Yes.
And we are going travelling. Well, we don't know where we're going. We're going to Norway for a month, and we're going to Paris.
Yes.
But we don't know where we're going for the rest of the time. Oh, we're going to Greece.
Yes.
But after that, we're not sure. But we do know.
Right. Okay.
Go on.
Well, for those people who have never ever tuned in before, when we say we're going to Norway and going to Greece, it's not I'm going to Norway, you're going to Paris.
Yes, that's true. That's true. Actually, we should remember that because whenever we start a podcast, we just talk to you like,
that you know us.
Well, yeah, because they do know us.
Yeah.
And we don't.
There's only 12 people, isn't there?
Well, that's what I mean. But we never realised that maybe one day a 13th might walk through the door.
You never know. Have you ever walked into a room with 12 people in? It's a lot of people.
I know.
Yeah.
We were talking about that the other day, weren't we?
Yeah.
But anyway, we're back this week. We announced last week on the podcast that we are Liz and Brian, husband and wife. We live in New Zealand. We've got 2 grown children. Young adult children, aged 20 and 23, and the 4 of us,
still like the 14.
The 4 of us are going on our second big adventure. We are going over to Europe, but after that, we don't know. We've given ourselves a year to be out of New Zealand. Actually, do you know what? Do you know what I was thinking, Bri?
You can come back.
I was going to say, we could always come back to New Zealand and just rent somewhere.
The same as what we're getting paid for our rent here.
The same money that we're getting, is it too windy?
It's getting windy, isn't it, with paper?
The same money that we're making on our house, that the person's paying to rent our house.
Yeah.
Does that work out?
Yes.
Yeah, we could spend that money.
Well, no, because the money that you'd be earning from your job would normally be that money.
Yeah.
That's how much in theory, because that's paying for rent and insurances and things and stuff
so
like
we
that.
could spend the rent. We could spend what we would normally be spending, like the cost of the mortgage, on a house in New Zealand if we wanted to.
Yes.
We could just go and live somewhere else in New Zealand to see if we like
could just live somewhere for...
Where would you go?
Where would I go?
In New Zealand.
Yeah. It's a hard one, isn't it? Because you tend to think, I'll just come back to the hometown. It's just like, but then you're not on that holiday feel, are you? Like, or moving around sort of stuff.
Oh, no, I wouldn't come back to New Plymouth. If I'm going to come back here, I want to be in my own house.
That would be... I would either go to somewhere like Russell or Paittia, up in the Northlands, or maybe go straight to the South Island to go somewhere like Wanaka or Queenstown or even Dunedin.
It's a bit flash.
Yeah.
It's a bit flash.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking Wanaka or Queenstown, Bri.
What are you thinking?
I'm thinking more Huntley.
Yeah, well, that's nice.
Huntley in the north.
Bennydale.
Do you know where I'm thinking? Do you know where I've always wanted to go?
Yeah, Huntley's a big power station place, by the way.
We've had loads of... It's the only place I can think of. We've had loads of people saying about just outside Christchurch, apparently, there's these little outlets. Remember I always tell you about it? And I always say that I want to go there.
There's like a French area there, isn't there, or something?
And someone said to me, you've got to go down there because it's absolutely gorgeous. I'm sure you'll let us know if you're watching this on YouTube.
It's not the Banks Peninsula, but...
Oh, that's it.
Is it the Banks Peninsula?
Yeah. I've always wanted to go there. But anyway, we've made ourselves homeless for a year. We don't intend to come back and rent a place in New Zealand. We intend to go and see other parts of the world and just spread our joy elsewhere.
Yeah. Can I have some tea now, please?
Yes.
I just threw my old tea away.
So we're back this week because this is what happened. Last week we were down the cafe and we told our friends that we were leaving New Zealand for a year and we were going on this epic adventure. And they were her mouth was just open.
They look at you as if like you're mad.
Well, we are.
I know.
Sometimes I think that.
Yeah, I do as well.
she said, I would absolutely love to do that, but I wouldn't know where to start, and I wouldn't know what goes into the planning of something like that, she said. So we thought this week it would be good to bring you our list, our never-ending list.
We did say that what stresses us out is the list.
Yeah, exactly. We're always stressed about the list, and we're going to be talking about that. Did I say that you're going to Norway for a month? I'm going to Paris for a month with my daughter.
We're meeting up in Greece.
We're meeting up in Greece for a month, yeah.
And then the rest is ad hoc, or however you want to do it. But I think with this, the reason why we wanted to say about this list is the reason why, people think, oh, you're mad. But you have to get a list together. But this is the type of thing you've got to go through that people don't want to do.
Yes, exactly. That I don't want to do.
Because they couldn't be bothered to do it because that is in the too hard basket.
Yeah. Before we start on our list, we just want to share with you, because you've been ever so patient. You've been so patient with us on this podcast. We've been telling you about how stressed we've been, and Bry's selling his boat. We're trying to raise money, and we couldn't tell you what we were doing. We were trying to save it, so you just keep listening. So you will know now why we couldn't tell you, because we couldn't rent the house. So we weren't going to say, oh yeah, we've got this plan and we're going to go traveling, because our house wasn't rented.
No.
So we put our house on Trade Me. If you're not from New Zealand, Trade Me is like a Craigslist thing, isn't it? For property. Yeah,
it's a bit like eBay type thing where you can kind of sell anything. I don't know, you can rent houses and property, but you can actually buy houses on Trade Me and stuff, can't you? Because people advertise on there. So
we put it on Trade Me, and we're obviously, this is our investment. This is the only thing we've got is our home. Well, apart from our love for each other and snuggle. But
I thought you were putting snuggle on today.
I know, I was going to, but when I said that, as I suggested that to you, you're like, oh, don't wear that, it's gross. Yeah.
I didn't say it was gross. I didn't say that at all.
I said yes,
just wear it. I think you put it on and thought, ugh.
Your look in your eyes said it all.
I think you just
don't find
looked at it and thought, do I actually wear this every day? Yes, I do.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Bri, but you're pushing your luck, mate, because that snuggle will be going in my rucksack if you're not careful, and it will be coming with us.
That's it.
So
little hole in your rucksack, it fell out.
What I was saying is, we put our house on Trade Me, and we kept getting these people applying.
Yeah.
And they just weren't right, either for us or for them. There were certain things,
we had one couple that turned up relocating from somewhere else in New Zealand, and they're here, they're walking around, and they come out. We were standing on this very deck when they came out and said to us, "Oh, this is what you're going to do with your furniture." And I said, "Well, it's fully furnished. It's what it says on the description. It says it about 3 times." And she just looked and said, "Oh, I must have missed that bit."
I know.
What a waste of time.
It's so annoying. You'll know this if you're renting your house or selling a car or doing anything. What is it like when we've got a viewing?
Tidy up when you've got a viewing.
Well, it's not just tidy up. I mean, this is Brian Deacle here. I mean, literally, we are on our hands and knees licking the floor to make it clean. It is. We go
because there's no cleaning products ever bought.
I know. We go all out, and the house looks like flipping Cinderella and the 7 Dwarfs have just come and sprung clean the whole thing.
Yeah.
And they turn up. You're sitting there. You think, please be the ones that are going to rent it.
It's not Cinderella, actually. It's Snow White.
Oh, you're a cocky sod today, Brian. Yeah. I don't like this attitude.
I think what you're trying to say is before Snow White turned up, the dwarf's house was a bit of a mess. And she cleaned all the dishes and everything, yeah.
I can feel a kind of energy coming off you.
Cinderella.
Right, okay.
Eh?
Right.
No fairy godmother there, eh? Just a nasty fairy stepmother.
Right, okay. So anyway, we have to tidy our house because Bri is a clean freak and he likes things to be done properly. And these people turn up, they look round, they've wasted our time.
Yeah.
And all I think is, I just want to.
Yeah.
And then another people turn up. We've had loads of people come. Another couple turned up.
The little brats.
Right.
Well, they might listen to the podcast, but there's only 12, so they won't be listening, eh?
Should we just say it?
Shaking the frigging apples out the apple tray.
Yeah.
Little, get down, you little.
Oh, this people, they turn up, their child, and they walked through the door, and the child just jumped on Brian's, straight into the garage, didn't ask.
Yeah,
straight into the garage.
Straight on the elliptical trainer.
Jumped on Brian's workout machine that is your pride and joy.
Why I use it every day.
And start stamping on it, saying, why is it not working? And the mum said, maybe you just need to turn it on, darling. Mm. And I just thought, no,
yeah,
maybe you need to get off.
Kid. Yeah.
And that was a no-go because it was just, I'm sorry, but we can't leave our house and all our furniture and all our preciousness snuggles in the loft. What if he went upstairs and got a snuggle out and ripped it?
Yeah. And they even wanted to take the cats. And it's like, no, you're going to terrorize those cats.
Yeah. So we've had some real to-do. I tell you what, it makes you realise.
Yeah.
It makes you realise how, I want to say strict we were as parents. There's no way I would have let my kids.
Yeah.
Well, they would have been in the car.
I know.
They would have been in the car.
It's changed these days, isn't it? Like, I think it was always like that with some people, with the Poppet Brigade, who people just let the child, I don't know.
If you're coming to view a house, Bri, and you bring your child with you, and that child is only young, I'm sorry, but the owners of the house don't want to hear or talk to the child.
No, they don't.
We're here on a business thing.
You're not renting it, kid.
Well, I know it's a family thing, but I'm sorry, I want to talk to the adults. But you're not allowed because the child wants to talk to you. Right. So all the adults have got to be quiet while the child is talking. Well, what's that all about?
Do you know what? We're
not in a park or in a nursery.
But we went down to the shed. Can we see the shed? Yeah, I'll show you the shed. I've got a quad bike, a 4-wheeler quad bike that sits there, and the little girl jumped on the quad bike, and we've looked at the shed, and we're walking out, and it's just sitting there.
No, don't say it's the little girl.
She was just sitting there, and the mum was just like, "Well, come on, get off the quad bike. We're going now." Did
the mum say that?
No, she didn't say it.
What did she say?
She didn't say anything.
Have you got the keys?
No, she
wants a little ride.
Like, she would not tell it to get off.
Stop saying it.
Because it's an it.
Brian,
it was.
You're going to get so much trouble on this podcast if you say that.
It's not my child.
So you don't say
I love
it.
my kids, but it's just like other people's kids. They're its. That's it.
Don't say that. That's horrible.
All right,
Stop
they're
it.
not.
No, that's awful.
No,
Stop it.
But anyway, it wouldn't get off the quad bike.
Little brats, weren't they?
And
they were like two animals.
Do you know what I did?
What?
I said, you can sit there, or because I'm closing the shed now. Started winding the shed thing down. It's a roller door.
Oh, listen. I like children. I've got
you should
two
have
of
seen the
my
speed
own.
it moved.
Yeah. But I'm sorry, when you've in such a stressful situation, not even stressful, it's just you're showing someone your home, your pride and joy. You don't want to be thinking, oh, isn't it cute that your kid is jumping all over my brown leather sofa with its shoes on? I just can't believe it.
Yeah.
It's almost as if the parents are scared of the children.
They are. Like they're going to upset them.
Yeah.
Because I walked everyone in the blames the kids. The kids blame the parents nowadays, don't they? And this is what the new generation don't want, to be blamed. And it's like, you're making it worse.
You are.
Because they don't know what to do.
I walked into the garage. You didn't know this, but all your dumbbells.
Yeah.
And I walked in, and the little boy was lifting up the dumbbells.
Yeah.
And he's only little. Pardon?
Wouldn't have been hard.
No, it was a big one.
Oh, it's on the big one.
And his mum was stood there watching. I walked in and said, "Oh no, put that down, please." I said, "That's not a toy." And the little boy said, "I'm an expert." And I said, "No, you're not an expert." I said, "That's a heavy weight. Please put it down." But his mum didn't say a word.
I know.
She just stood there watching. And I thought,
unbelievable, isn't it?
It is, and I feel embarrassed because I'm like being strict, but I thought I've got to step in here because what if he drops it on his foot and breaks his toe?
Yeah.
And also, you don't just come into someone's house, grab all their stuff, and just start going with, playing with it. I don't know. It was just, anyway.
But anyway.
This isn't. This
the
is
apple
a
tree.
bit of a rant,
We've got a little small apple tree that's about 45 degrees because it nearly blew over about 2 years ago, and I just couldn't really pull it back up to straight because it would have snapped it. So it only had about 2 apples on it. And they were lovely big apples, weren't they?
Oh, it's just a gorgeous it's an apple tree. It's our apple tree. It's lovely.
It's 15 years old, the apple tree, but it's in the wrong place and it gets battered by the winds in the winter.
We try and look after it.
And sometimes you get a whole tree full of apples, and sometimes you only get 2 because it's that windy. Sometimes just all the leaves get blown off, and so does the blossom. Anyway, the last 2 apples, or the only 2 apples really, little bugger just jumps up on the tree and starts shaking it like mad.
Yeah,
and it's only small. It's a tiny tree, isn't it? It's like more like a bush than a tree. And they fall off. Then he picks them up and throws them away.
I know.
And it's just like, what's that?
I saw your face
kids?
when she said,
that's my winter supply of apples.
Brian said, she said, I'm sorry, he loves apples. And
I've got the apples for the winter.
Oh, it's a bit of a rant, but we just want to
Anyway.
but we just want to share with you why we're so stressed.
Yeah, but this is what happens when you don't use an agent. This is why maybe you should just think, stuff it, I'll use an agent, and they can take 10% of the whatever it is.
But do you know what, Bri? Do you know why I wouldn't want to? Well, I wouldn't want to use an agent.
Yeah.
We're too tight to use an agent, me and you.
Well, it's all about money at the end of the day.
It is, because you know that it's a really tight market at the moment, rental market.
Yeah.
There's far more houses than there are people to rent.
Yeah, well, because
We had to put the price down 3 times.
Yeah.
We started off like being all like, oh, look, we're going to get this. And then it was like, oh, maybe we're not. Maybe we're only going to get that. And then we put it down again. Then we put it down. It was just like, okay, now we're at the bottom that we can go to. We can't go any lower than this. So we didn't want to spend more money on an agent.
No, because like 3 years ago when we rented the house for 6 months, the thing is that the New Zealand housing market has changed so much in the last 10 years that so many investors bought property because it was such a good investment. Because guess what? In New Zealand, there's no capital gains tax for property. So if you sell it, there's no tax if you make a profit, unless you're doing it as a business.
Haven't they changed that now?
No. And anyway, so...
Wish we had more than one property.
I know.
It'd be great, wouldn't it?
So it's kind of shot themselves in the foot because they've been out and bought all these properties, but now there's a glut of properties on the rental market.
Right.
So landlords are struggling, aren't they?
So I think that's why we were so stressed, because normally, like when we've rented it before, it's been the other way. So people are coming and they're really grateful to be renting your place.
Yeah,
but it felt as if the people that were coming, like the ones that we like interviewed, the ones that came, and we had a few,
had a choice.
Yeah, well, they would just had a bit of an attitude of like, well, we don't need this.
That's what I said. They've got a choice to go somewhere else, haven't they?
You better let our kids run all over your furniture, because if you don't, what else are you going to take, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And that was the attitude. I was just going back to say to you before we come off this subject, it makes me realise how strict we were as parents with our kids.
Yeah, you were saying that just before, weren't you?
I was, because it's just, it does, Bri. And I was telling the kids about it at dinner the other night, and they were like, oh, there's no way you would have let us do that. And I said, no, there wasn't.
Yeah. And it wasn't strict in a horrible way. It was just the kind of way we were brought up, which is just manners and just like, hey, you, get down off that and shut up, or you're going back in the car. And
we'll share with you in a minute what the people that are renting the house, the difference. And this is an example.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that was that. And going back to the agent, before we leave the agent thing, I think I'm kind of glad we're not using an agent, because what if because we were saying, oh, we could go traveling, we could go over to Europe.
Yeah.
We had enough money to last us like 2 months. And we said, we'll come home after 2 months.
Yeah.
We said, but if we don't rent it. But in the meantime, we could put it with an agent. But Bri, what if an agent interviewed those people?
I know, they'd let them in, wouldn't they?
Yeah. And then they'd call us and say, oh yeah, it's a really nice family. The references are great. And we'd never know.
No.
So I think it's good that you are looking who's going to be living in your house.
Yeah.
Especially a furnished house.
I know.
Because we've had that furniture for years, and we've got some very special things in here. I mean, obviously the personal things are taken out.
Yeah, your little ornaments and
special
stuff goes away. But the guy who came to see it, which we will talk about.
Oh, go on then. Tell your story now about the guy.
Yeah. So anyway, after all these things of getting the house ready, and it's normally at the weekends when you'll do it, but this particular weekend,
it was the weekend after you sold your boat.
I sold the boat, and I had a stack of maintenance to do on the house. Just like fascia boards that needed painting because cracks have appeared over 15 years without any paint and stuff. So it was just needed like a touch up, and some of the ends where the wrong filler had been used when they'd built the house had soaked up into the wood and rotted just the ends of these fascia boards. So they were all the tasks that I was doing that week. And so I had the big saw on the driveway. It was kind of a nice day. It was nice and dry, wasn't it? And ladders up on the side of the house. And this guy just pulls up on the driveway. And sometimes people would pull on the driveway and then turn around and go back the other way off from the road. It's only a tiny road that we live on, isn't it? A single track road, as you'd say. And so I'm just thinking, oh, he's just turning around. And then he gets out the car, puts his head sort of around the bushes, looking up the driveway, and he goes, hello. And I went, hello. And he said, this the house for rent? And I went, looked at him as if like, who are you? He looked like he's in a nice new BMW and everything. And I thought, oh, he's an agent or something, like, come in to, say, oh, would you like to try it with us? And I just said, yes, it is. And he said, oh, I know we haven't got an appointment. He said, but do you mind if we just have a look around the outside of the house? And I went, hang on a minute. I
Grass
said,
hadn't been cut or anything, had it?
nothing had been
It's
cut.
a right mess.
The house, Sonny had been in his room and just gone out to
Just
work.
like a
and
pigsty.
Tess had gone out to work, which her room's always quite tidy anyway. And Liz was actually, I think you were in the bathroom at the time.
No, I wasn't. I was
Oh,
just
was you
doing
not?
my journaling. I was just sitting on the bed
Oh, right.
while you were outside fixing all the gutters.
Yeah, while you're doing all the stuff. Great. Brilliant. Just what
No,
rolls, eh?
I can't remember what I was doing, but I was doing something really important.
Yeah. Anyway.
And I was in my pajamas.
And
Oh,
so
Bumblebee,
I thought,
look.
I said, listen, before you, he said, I'm just here with my wife and my son. And I said, listen, before you come up, I said, I'll just tell my wife. I said, he said,
To get her clothes on.
first thing he said, are you the owner? Because I was all in my scruffies, like, and I went, yes, I am actually.
No, I'm the handyman.
And I said, listen, I'm going to tell my wife. I said, because I don't want just you walking around the house or around the house. She said, we don't want to go inside. I said, but still, I said, you're going to go past the bedroom windows. And he said, okay. And so I came and saw you. I said, what do you think? Like, and at first I just thought, oh, this is really rude that he's just done this without an appointment. Coming up, just turning up. And then I just thought, the old saying, when opportunity knocks, open the door. And I just thought, well, what have I got to lose? It's if I turn him away, I've lost him. But if he comes up and he doesn't like it, you've lost him. So you haven't lost anything, have you? Because you never gained anything. So anyway.
Hang on. And that was the same thing when you told me, you said, I put my head out of the bedroom door, the sliders, and I was like, what's going on? Who is it? And you told me what had happened. You said, is it a bit rude? And I said, it is a bit. I said, don't let him in, Bryce. The house is a right tip. Tell him to come back at 2:00 and I'll tidy up. And you said, do you know what, Liz? When opportunity knocks, just let and open the door. Yeah. And I thought that was a really wise thing to say.
Yeah.
And I just thought, yeah, you're right. So while you took them down to the deck, I whizzed round the bathroom. I picked up all the wet towels off the floor, just threw them in the washing basket. Then I went to the kitchen and I just stuffed all the dishes in the dishes. Yeah, exactly. Just kicked everything under the couch and just slapped everything under. And then do you know what I did then?
It was like Snow White with all the birds coming in and helping
it was.
you.
It was. And then I just put some classical music on. Did you notice that?
Yes, I did.
I reckon that's what sold it. Anyway, go on. Go back to your story.
On. Yeah, so, we walk in now. And his wife appears around the corner, and there's little son, and he comes up. He goes, the first question he says, the most important thing is, and he had a strange accent. I'm thinking, I can't put my finger on his accent, And anyway, he goes, the main bedroom, is it separate from the other bedrooms? And I'm like, because we live on one level, as in it's a bungalow, or it's just a one level house. There's no stairs in the house. And I went, actually, it is. I said, it is. It's separate from all. It's not attached. It doesn't join all the bedrooms. The 3 bedrooms join to each other, but ours is separated by a bathroom and a built-in wardrobe. So it's not next to it. And he said, because that's one of the most important things. And I just thought, oh, right, okay. Why? You just look at somebody and think,
why didn't you ask?
What are you going to be doing?
Why didn't you ask?
In that bedroom that needs to be separate, eh?
You can borrow a snuggle if you like.
Hello.
I've got a nice little snuggle jumper here.
Have you got any cameras? Or have you got any... So what?
No, they probably just needed some space from their child.
I just think, yeah, exactly, yeah.
Anyway, I came down and you were talking to them on the deck, weren't you?
Yeah, he just fell in love with the place straight away. He just said, this is beautiful. It's absolutely amazing.
And that was the difference. Yeah. That was the difference. We went down. I went down and I said to him, would you like to come and look around? He said, no. He was so respectful.
He was unbelievably respectful.
And he just said, no, this is Sunday. We're unannounced. I said, look, you can't rent a house without looking inside it. I said, please just come in. They'd come all the way over from the other side of the country. Yeah, I said, please just come in. They were only here for a couple of days. And I said, just excuse the mess. I said, the one room I wouldn't go in if I was you, is my son's room. And they were laughing. But they were so gentle and so... The only word I can use is respectful.
Yeah, and the little boy was probably only, about 8 or 9?
Gorgeous.
Something like that, maybe 8. And he was just lovely, and just...
And that's what I was going to say. That was the difference. He was just... He was still speaking. He said to me, my name... He told me his name and he said, no, I like Minecraft. I said, oh, do you? I said, my son really likes Minecraft. And he looked at me and he's like, does he? And I said, yes. But then his mum said... She said his name. She said, just hang on a minute. We're just talking with the adult. And I just thought...
Yeah,
it was just a lovely way to just deal with. That's exactly what you want. It's like you don't want to say completely like just be quiet, child, but at the same time, going back to what we were just talking about before, it's like this is important. This is where
But he wouldn't
adults
bust
need to
in, would
talk.
he?
No,
That's
he
the
wasn't. He
thing,
was so
know?
polite.
Yeah, I remember saying to him, "Hey mate, there's an apple tree out there. There's no apples on it though."
And do you know the biggest difference? They came in and the guy, all of them, she said to me, her son whispered something to her. And she said, do you know what my son just said? And I said, what? And she said, I asked him what part of the house he likes the most. And he said all of it, every single bit of it. And I just thought, and the dad, you know, he just said, your home is just beautiful. He said, thank you so much. He said, and I said, oh, don't worry about all the mess and everything. I said, all this will be gone. And he said, please leave everything as exactly as it is. He said, will you be leaving all your books? Because we've got this big bookcase. And I said, yeah, if that's okay. And he said, please do. He said, I love all the books. It was so surprising because we weren't expecting it.
No, we weren't.
It's always the way, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's the greatest thing about it, isn't it? Like, you know, and he just said, I'll sign the contract now. And it's like, well, I haven't got it ready yet. So, but it was just like the way he was saying it, I want it now. And he said, when I go home, it takes you 4 hours to go home. He said, then I will send you all my references and things like that. Like, you know. So
it was just, they say everything happens for a reason, don't they? And, you know, it was just all these people coming in that just weren't right. They didn't like it or they didn't want it. There was too much furniture. It was all the different reasons they were given. And then
there was a family of about 8 at one time that wanted to move in, didn't they? It was just like, it's 4 bedrooms, but it ain't really big enough for a house for 8 people.
No. Yeah. And then this guy just walked in and it was obviously just for him. And he just said afterwards, he sent me an email and he said, thank you so much. And I emailed him back and I just said, you know what? I said, people have energy around them. Yeah. They really do. And that family's energy was just, it was just beautiful. It was right. And it was just felt so that I just knew that they would look, I hope that they were, I just knew they'd look after the house and love it and the house would give them back the love. Because he just said the house is filled with love. And I said, yeah, and you will add to that. Yeah. You and your family will add to that. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It was just good. That was a great experience considering what we'd been through. So it was so good. Yeah. Yeah. So now we were going to talk to you about the list, the never-ending list. How are we doing for time? Are we okay? Yeah, we're about 29 minutes, 27 minutes into it, something like that. Okay, so this is the list. If you're watching on YouTube, you'll be able to see the 2 lists. I'll rattle it. A piece of paper by the microphone. Yes, and like I say, it just keeps going on and on and on and on. In fact, we've got a house list for all the jobs for the people to do on the house, and then we've got it. Well, do you know what this says? Important things to do. More administration things than anything. Administration things. So I'm just going to run through them and give you an example of what we've been doing over the last few days. You're going to go away for 12 months. Okay, number 1, order contact lenses for 12 months. Yeah, we didn't do that. We did it for 3 months. We can get them in the UK or anywhere in the world. We can, but do you know what? You can't get them in the US without a prescription. Well, I've tried before, you can't. So if we go to the US, we're stuffed. Yeah. So we had to order... see anything, which is probably a good thing. We had to order... Shut up. I'm only joking. We had to order the contact lenses. That was one thing. Number 2, order testosterone and HRT for a year. Yes. So we had to go to the doctors. Here's the thing. We had to go to the doctors, have all our blood tests done. Yep. Everything done. I think I told you before, I've had my smear done. I've had my breast screening done. Yeah. All the blood tests, been to see the doctors, had all our levels checked. Everything's okay. And... so then we need enough medication, or is that what it's called? No, it's just hormones. That's all we have. That's all we hormones. Take. We need to take off. We can't go away for a year without hormones. My testosterone, and I need my bloody HRT because I tell you what, if they don't give me those patches for a year, you fall to bits. I'll kill those kids. Honestly, I will. Undrawn and quartered by the time we get to Greece. So we had to order all that, and that's just been a palaver because we had to sort all that out. Oh, what else does it say? Buy health insurance. Well, we haven't done that yet. That hasn't been crossed off. That's one of the main things, isn't it? Yeah. We will just be getting health insurance. We won't be getting... There's no point getting travel insurance because, you know, when you see... it's mainly for hotels and things, and we only book them as we're going along, so, you know... But like, what if we lose our computer? Well, then we lose our computer, don't we? Do you not think we should get, like, proper health travel insurance? Well, it costs a fortune for a year. Well, if you go with we normally use World Nomads and they're brilliant. Yeah. They're absolutely fantastic. And I think it's about $1,000. I don't know. I can't remember.
Well, let's have a look.
We'll have a look at that. We haven't crossed that off yet.
Sometimes it's cheaper to get the health insurance, but sometimes if it's for a long period, then maybe they'll give you. You just got to tell them the countries you're going to, and it's just like, oh,
we don't know.
We don't know, do we?
I know. So we might use that digital nomad insurance.
Yes.
You know, the one we used when we went to Canada. We might use that.
Yep.
It says unblock the ANZ card and find out what the PIN is. That is because.
Yeah, you went to get a gift card for $600, and you blocked your credit card because you couldn't remember the PIN number.
Do you know what? This is another thing. Let's just talk about this.
You have to phone the bank. How long does that take?
Yeah, but this is the thing I want to talk about.
What?
The last year. I don't know how really I've remembered anything. Well, let's just say the last 18 months. It isn't the last year. It's been the last 18 months. You have sorted out everything, like all our PINs, our banking, our how to turn the telly on, how to record this podcast.
Yep.
I haven't done any of that side of it.
No.
And that's why I'm really nervous. And I know you keep saying, oh, Liz, it's only a month and you're going to be with Tess. But I'm nervous about being on my own for a month.
Yeah.
And I don't want that to make me sound like a half-wit that can't cope. But I am a half-wit that can't cope at the moment. I feel like I am.
No, I think you just need, because you rely on someone else, I think sometimes when that other person moves away, you step up. And I think that's the big difference. But you probably don't feel like you're ready to step up, but I can see you are. And you'll probably really enjoy. You'll probably get the freedom feeling of doing it.
So all that to say, what it was is when you've got your own business in New Zealand, you can buy $600 worth of food vouchers, and you can write it off against tax. Is that right?
You can do that 4 times a year because we're 2 directors of our company, and you do that for staff expenses. So you can basically, because our house is our office and everything else, so it's not a great deal, but it's just you get tax relief on $2,000 something.
Yeah.
You know?
Anyway, Bryce said to me, go to Back and Save and get a $600 voucher, and that'll see us through till before we go. So I went to pay wave it, and because it was over $200, she said, oh, you'll have to enter your PIN. I said, oh, I don't know it. And she said, sorry? And I said, I don't know it. And I was thinking, what is it? Is it that? Is it this? Is it that? Is it my date of birth? Is it that? Oh, what? Is it Sunny's? I don't know. And I tried it 4 times and it locked me out. Yeah. And she said, oh, your card's blocked now. You know, you just think, oh, no. Yeah. So that's another thing that we had to do was phone the bank, then explain what had happened, get the PIN unblocked and all the rest of it. So that was just another thing. But
yeah. And that took an hour and a half, by the way, to do that.
Yeah. Book the sheep in.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a very nice topic, but one of the things we've got to talk about is our land.
Yeah, one of the sheep is a little bit too old now. That she probably, if we were here, maybe she might last another 6 months. But she's, I think her teeth are gone. As in, old sheep lose their teeth because they get so many teeth through their lifestyle. Nice little wasp, just flying around.
So don't you dare do that with the sheep.
Yeah, and so we're going to have to. She's going
to put her out of her misery. Is what we're going to do. We're going to send her to a happy place, but. Yep. Doing that is a little bit harder than taking a sick animal to the vets. Yeah. With a sheep, we've got to get her from the other side of the river. She's on our other side. We've got a river that goes through the land. She's on the other side of the river, so we've got to go and get her. Yeah. We've then got to put her in a trailer, which we've got to hire. Yeah. And we've got to take her.
Could have put her in the boat, couldn't I?
Yeah, you could.
Yeah, foolish that.
So it's just it's one of that. We're not going to leave. We're not going to leave that responsibility to
maybe we should. You want a lifestyle blog? Yeah. Here you go.
So that's on the list. Is sort the old girl out.
Yeah.
What else is? Oh, book the hotel in London. I did that. Yeah, I booked us a place in Paddington.
Just for you and Tess.
And then arrange interview with Charlotte, the NZ Shores people, the immigration people. So to keep our business going, we want to get as many interviews as we can in New Zealand done and in the bag. We won't have time to edit them, but we want to record the interviews because once we get to Europe, the time difference is going to be so hard.
It's too hard to interview people who live here. Yeah.
So I've just also written down upload and schedule 2 months of New Zealand content.
Yep.
So that is something else that we're going to be doing.
So that's just like, they were more administrative things, weren't we? So house preparation checklist, because Liz did the original one and I just thought, well, I'll just talk it to ChatGPT and just tell it to rewrite it and so I can read the words, because Liz's writing is pretty hard. So this is part of clear out and clean. So clear out clothes and wardrobes, clean pantry, cupboards and fridge, make space in the loft.
Well, you've done that.
I've done the space in the loft, but the other things are closer to the time. Maintenance and repairs, service the fire, as in the wood burner, service the boiler, which is the...
Have you done these things yet?
No.
We're going in 3 weeks.
I know. Which is service the boiler, which is the gas Bosch Worcester boiler. Replace filters and UV lamps because we have rainwater system here in New Zealand. So we have big 20-inch carbon block filters and pre-filters and UV sterilization. Fix and put away the umbrella, which is these ones above us because they're too big to stay out for the winter. Paint the thresholds on the doors, spray gorse and thistles, do hedges and bushes, short seep out, and do bedroom deck if possible. Hey, 3 weeks. And you wonder why Bri gets a little bit stressed here and there.
Oh, it's not just you.
No, I'm just saying. Right, administrative tests. Send off Liz's passport. She hasn't got a passport.
I have.
No, you haven't.
I have got a New Zealand passport.
Yes, but not a British passport. We're going to Britain.
So I can go on my New Zealand passport.
Yeah, but it'll be invalid unless you get back in time. But
we're going to sort that out when we get to the UK because we
Yeah.
haven't got time to do it now.
Contact Lloyd's about account. That's in the UK. Change house insurance from just to landlord's insurance. So that's the property insurance has to change. The building contents have to change to landlords. So we get all for new. If we break something, all for new. Now it just becomes what it's worth. Yeah, if that makes sense. So if they break the TV, you'll only get the price of a second-hand TV, which is nothing really. Yeah. Anyway.
I hope they don't break anything, Bri.
I know.
They won't.
Yeah.
They're careful. They look like careful people.
Yeah. And pay the boat money into 2 accounts so we can put them in our Wise accounts to pay for our first month in.
Yeah, we're using the boat money to have half savings.
Yes.
Half for me in Paris, half for you in Norway. So how much have we got? 3,000 New Zealand dollars each.
Each, yeah.
Should
be all right. It's only just for food.
We've paid for all our accommodation.
Yeah, it's just for food.
So that's just to pay for our food
stuff,
and things, just day-to-day things.
Yeah. Update email sequence. Hey, no one's got a clue what that means.
Yeah, no, but this is what I'm saying. When you say, so no wonder Brian's stressed.
Yeah.
You're doing all the maintenance-y stuff.
Yeah.
I'm doing
Anyway, let's move on to the next one.
See?
So joking.
I'm trying to do all the business side and keep the money coming in.
Sue, just clicking on the keyboard.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, I'm only joking because I know what's got it involved in that. But that's something you're going to have to do when you're away.
I haven't got time to do it now. Yeah, it's too much to do now.
Organise lift to the airport. Because do you know what? There's 4 of us. Can someone
please give us a lift?
Yeah, 4 of us with cases. And it's just like, just Uber it. But how big's the Uber when it turns up? Even if an Uber X, it's like not quite big enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so,
and this is the thing. No, hang on. Before you run on, this is the thing as well, is we have always had my mum here. Always.
Yeah, exactly.
So when we did this world trip last time and when we went to Europe last time, Mum was here helping me clean the house. Mum was here saying, bring all the stuff over to mine. Come and park your cars in the driveway. Yeah. That's the other thing. We've got nowhere to leave our cars. So we're leaving them on the driveway. The owners are going to,
But we could ask John next door. But he goes to church on a Sunday and we fly on a Sunday. So
I thought you meant you can ask John if we can.
No, he's got a big car.
Oh, he'll take us.
Yeah. All right. All right, John.
Because that's what I was going to say. Normally, we would ask my mum.
Yeah.
And we're the sort of people. Do you know what our problem is? A spider. It's made a web on my arm and it just keeps crawling up the web onto the microphone.
That's because you're doing the email sequence.
Do you know what, Bri? What was I going to say? Oh, yeah, this is because we're too proud to ask people to help us.
Yeah, we always are. We always have been.
Because I said to you today, why don't we ask Daniil and Gavin if they'll give us a lift?
Yeah.
And you said, oh no, it's because they've got all their grandchildren on a Sunday. They're not going to want to help us.
They've only got a ute and if it's raining, all the cases will get wet.
Well, we might as well just walk to the airport then. Just the 4 of us just walk, dragging our cases. By the way, we're not taking a lot of cases.
So anyway.
Oh, okay.
That's another one. So let's just organise. Yeah. We live 40 kilometres away from the airport. That's why it's not just down the road. Next one is ask Angie, which is our friend, to do a podcast with you and be the manager for. She's a real estate agent and she's a good friend of ours.
Angie would take us, but she lives in HURRAYY.
Yeah,
she lives miles away.
Yeah, she lives 80 kilometres away, so that's like a lot driving for her in Sunday morning.
But Angie, I've organised a podcast with her because, like Bryce said, she's a real estate agent. She's got her own business. She's absolutely lovely. She moved over from from the UK about
time as us,
similar time, yeah. And our little girls grew up together. She's a very, very lovely friend, and I've asked her to be our agent. You know,
Yes.
like if there's any problems, she will be the first person that the renters call and stuff like
Yeah,
that. So
'cause she knows
you
people.
should tick that off because I've done that.
It is. It's
She's
got-
coming
it's
next
got a-
Friday for
it's
the
got a
interview.
green tick on it. Like.
Yeah.
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 And then one is tell your mastermind group that the date you're finishing your mastermind
I did
group.
that. I've told them.
You've done
Yeah.
that one, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Purchases and orders. Order a skip.
Do you think we should still order a skip?
Maybe.
Got nothing to put in it now because you've cleared all the loft. So we've got all
Yeah.
that room in the loft. We'll just stick it all in there.
Yeah.
So
But-
when I say, well, hang on, when I say stick it all in,
Yeah.
we're going to get a couple of boxes, aren't we? And we're just going
Well,
to pack our...
I made enough space, I think, in the loft to pack everything in.
I know you did. So what we're going to do, what I will be doing...
Mm-hmm. Let's listen to this. What are you going to be doing, Liz?
Oh, do you know what? I don't like it when we do this. I don't like it when we do this. No,
It's just
it really
but
pisses me
it
off.
goes back to the podcast we did a few weeks back. That's why I'm just, come on.
What?
You've got to go with the flow.
Okay, I'll
you
go with
always
the
have a
flow.
go at me. You're always digging me. So
Oh,
here we go.
I'm not.
What? Don't start going. Oh, I'm not. Yeah. What do they say on YouTube? Stop talking to him like a child.
Yeah, and you stop talking to me like a little pig.
Oh, right, really? Is that a little pig, is it?
No, listen.
Oh, right, go on.
Tell me what you're talking about again, you boring little swine. What you've been
I
saying?
don't know. It's order a skip.
Oh, yeah, order a skip. So
What are you going to do, Liz?
I am going to, Brian,
Yes.
I
Liz.
am going to pack the personal things.
Okay, Margot. Okay, Todd.
I'm going to like all our precious things.
Yeah.
I'm going to wrap them in newspaper, obviously, and I'm going to pack them into the
Are
loft.
you? What
Yes, I
newspapers are
am.
you going to use?
I'll go and buy some. What?
Okay.
What else could I use?
We've got when we used to have a drop shipping business, we've got a little roll of like that crinkly sort of cardboard that you
Oh, yeah,
you can
I'll
pull
use that
out
then.
and just wrap it.
So
in
what
there.
I'm going to do is I'm going to pack all the stuff and I'm going to put it into the loft. Anyway,
Yep.
so we don't need a skip.
Right. Okay.
Not unless
we-
you're gonna go in
Let's
it.
just tick that one off then.
Yeah,
hey?
we will.
Don't order skip.
And also, they're expensive.
yeah, and
I
these
love
are
skips.
these are the
There's
ones.
nothing better than having a skip, is there, Bri?
No, it's brilliant.
Do you know
isn't
what?
But-
It
but-
is.
Yeah,
It lightens you when you
Yeah.
throw stuff away.
I know.
I adore it.
Yeah.
Absolutely adore it. I'm not a hoarder. You are.
Get pebbles for pots.
Yeah, that's because the cats keep shitting in the plant pot.
That's nice.
You know,
Yeah,
you know those plant pots outside our bedroom
I know.
door?
Yeah,
They've decided to use that as a cat litter.
yeah. Because we've had no rain really this summer, have we? So the ground's a little bit too hard for them to sort of the paper's blown everywhere, isn't it? Is to dig the ground up.
So I
Anyway.
thought if we go into the garden centre
Yeah.
and you can buy some of those decorative stones
Yeah,
and fill all our pots up with those
Yeah.
decorative stones, then
And
at
so-
least when the renters are laying in bed thinking, oh, here we are, look, paying all this money to rent this house.
Yeah.
Look at that beautiful mountain. And then you hear,
yeah. That's nice. What's that funny smell? Cat shit. Mate.
oh, the renters have very kindly said that they'll have Sid and Nance for us. So that's
Yeah.
really lovely. They're going to be looking after the cats, aren't they, Brian?
Yeah, yeah.
But we
yeah.
will provide some pebbles so that they...
Yeah, and a little bit of food for them.
No, we'll be providing all the food,
Oh, right,
obviously.
okay. And then these are the ones, and it's got organised lift to airport again.
Yeah, no, because
So
it's
it's a
important. I've
purchase,
written it
not an
twice.
organising schedule, and it's a purchase.
I think that's quite important that we
Yeah.
get a lift to the airport.
I think it is, yeah, because otherwise we won't be going anywhere, will we?
Yeah.
Well, our wheels won't last that far if we try and push them. Buy an Amazon plugin.
Oh no, this is just all you just
And
reading all
buy
my
pin
work.
clicks.
Yeah, this is all
Yeah.
my work stuff.
Okay.
So buy Amazon plugin and buy pin clicks is basically two plugins that will generate more income on our blog,
Yes.
driving traffic. The traffic. This is hard to explain, but the blog posts that drive traffic to Amazon and other affiliate sites such as Booking.com,
Yes.
Skyscanner, all those websites.
Get my guide and things like that.
Yeah, that we're affiliates with. The Amazon plugin. So basically, Amazon have stopped
You can't
allowing
see any
images
pictures, yeah.
to their affiliates. So when you say, "Oh, I wear these shoes," you can buy them. They won't let you put the image on, but that plugin lets you put the image on.
Right,
So that's
okay.
what that is.
Yeah.
And the pin clicks one is something to do with Pinterest, which I'm not going into here because it'll be very boring
Nice.
for anyone else.
Yeah, Pinterest
But
is a
those are
hard one.
important because they're going to earn us money.
Yeah, and wonderful ChatGPT has taken out of purchases and orders and put it into miscellaneous is get cover for barbecue.
Get cover for barbecue. Where are we
Yeah.
going to get that from?
Mitre 10.
Do we need it?
Yes, we do.
Why?
Because
Is
it's...
that mouse still living in the barbecue?
No, it fried, I think. Yeah. I just let the gas run and dropped the match in, and I think
Don't
it
say
just
that.
flashed it.
Do you know what? You're coming across as being really horrible today. You've said kids are its. You've been
They are.
really horrible to me and made
Not
me
like
feel
kids.
really bad. And now you're saying that
Yeah.
you're going to fry mice. No, there was a lovely little mouse, and every time we'd turn off the barbecue, you'd hear it run up the run up the legs of the barbecue and then get inside, because obviously it was nice and warm,
Yeah, but
and it would be able to eat all the little bits of meat on the barbecue.
What it is, it lived in the barbecue, and it would just like get all the drips and things. Obviously, like, you know, and it was just a mouse, but you couldn't ever get the bugger because it would run away, and then you put the cover back on, and then it would run back in. Obviously, not when you were there, but so, and the igniter's gone on the barbecue, so you have to drop a match in. If you're a bit late because it's LPG, it just literally explodes. And it just it exploded once. I said, let the gas run a bit too long, and it flew out I don't think it ever went back.
No, it probably didn't, because it just thought, I'll find a new home.
Yeah. So that's what I do every time now.
So the mouse is gone.
Yeah.
The cat shit will be cleared up. So will we be getting a barbecue? But at least we'll have our pink lips.
No, the barbecue.
At least we'll have our Amazon plug-in.
Our Amazon plug-in, and the email sequence will be sorted anyway. Let's really get the house ready.
Right. Look.
Yes.
So that's the list. So that's what we're saying.
Yeah.
So I wonder if you're listening to this when you're sitting there thinking, well,
Doesn't sound too bad.
I'd like to go away for a year. I bet it's all right. All you have to do is just find somewhere to stay and rent your house.
Yeah.
It isn't. It's stressful as hell, isn't it, Bri?
Yeah, well, it's just like, think about your car. What are you going to do with your car?
What are we
for a
going to
year?
do with it?
Well, it's just going to sit in our driveway. I said to him, do you mind if there's going to be 3 cars in the driveway? And he went, no, I've only got 1.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right.
And we're
'Cause you can
leaving,
get about
we're
8
leaving
cars
him
on
the
our
keys.
driveway,
He can
can't
move
you?
it whenever he wants, can't
Yeah.
he? He can do whatever he wants with it.
Yeah, you can. I also said you can just take it over a run every week, for every month for us if you can.
Do you know, I think the thing with us, I was thinking about this the other day, because I thought, to some people, leaving all your furniture and all your possessions and your cats and cars with 2 complete strangers. I mean, we obviously have done our reference checks. They're lovely people and they've got very good references.
Yeah.
We got a lovely feel off them. But to some people, that would be like, you're doing what?
I know.
But do you know what I think
They're going
it
to
is?
sleep in your bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what I think it is though, Bri? I
What?
think it's because we've never been the kind of people that have held on tight to our things.
No. Well, we're not. You know, it's like, I don't care about my car.
That's what I was thinking.
Car's like, it's not worth a penny anyway.
Yes,
But
it is.
what?
You paid $10,000 for that
Well,
car.
it's not a lot, is it, for a car?
I know,
It's
and I think that's
£5,000.
I think that's probably what is going on here.
Yeah.
I wonder if it would be a bit different if we had like,
If you had a new Tesla sitting on the driveway,
yeah,
you wouldn't
and
want
if
to
you
leave
had
it, would
like bone china, you know, like you had heirlooms that
you?
you
What do you have?
what?
Well,
What heirlooms have we got?
those just even the dining room chairs.
Yeah, I was gonna
are
say
18th
that-
century
Yeah, they
French
are.
farmhouse chairs.
But at the end of the day,
Yeah.
if they broke one of those chairs,
No, it wouldn't be the end of the world.
it wouldn't be
'Cause
the end of the world.
We've had them for 20 years and they've been great, haven't they? Like, you know,
And I really like having that attitude
Yeah.
of thinking
not too precious.
it isn't. Nothing is.
Holding
What's-
on too tight.
Yeah, what's the worst thing that, you know, I mean, obviously we don't want them to trash the house or do anything. But and I was saying this to you the other day when you were getting really, really stressed.
Yeah.
And you were saying, I've got to spray all the gorse and I've got to cut all the brambles and I've got to do all the hedges and I've got to do all this. And I said to you, didn't I? I said, Bri, if the worst comes to the worst and we came back here this time next year and the whole place was grown over and the grass was knee high and the hedges were full and the cats had been flipping pooed all over the garden, it would take us no more than a weekend to sort out.
Yeah. Well, it would take us about 2 weeks.
Even if it took us a month,
It'd
right?
take you a weekend, but it takes me about 2 weeks.
Even if it took you, look, Bri,
Yeah,
even
take
if
you.
it takes you,
Yeah. It takes you a month.
if it takes you a month, Bri,
I know.
you'll enjoy it.
Do you know what? Talking on that thing about, and this is not just a recent thing about holding on to your furniture and all your house belongings. When we left the UK and we put all our possessions, worldly possessions, everything, including the quad bike that I was talking about just before, that came with us from the UK after a good clean to get through biosecurity, which was hard. And we didn't get any insurance on all our content. And I even said, I don't care if it falls off the ship. And that was all those years ago.
I know.
And it was just like, well, but I was relieved when it turned up. As in, oh, well, it's nice to have it. But I really didn't care because it was like a new life for me. Like, it's something new. I'm doing something. And this is what this going away again for a year is. It's like, it's something new to do something. And the compromise is, if it gets trashed, it gets trashed. And if it doesn't, then it doesn't. And you're insured if it gets trashed to a degree. We've got a bond and we've got money, and you can claim off them if they, misused it or something. And the house is covered under insurance. So really, it's all right, isn't it?
Yeah.
But some people can't do that.
No.
Could never do that.
No.
And I think that's a testament to me and you that we can actually do that because, wherever you lay your hat, that's your home.
Mm.
And it really is. And that's what we make it when we go traveling. Because we've been really, really worried at times about, oh my God, what are we going to do? And you're super comfy and this and that. And you just think, just do it. Put yourself out your comfort zone.
Mm.
You've got to do it, haven't you?
Yeah. And you know what? Someone said on the comments on YouTube a couple of weeks ago, they're from, where are they from? Kenya, I think it was. I'm sorry.
Right.
I'm sorry. I should have written down your name, but I didn't. But he just said, and this is like a really sad story. He said one of his friends, their house burnt down and they lost everything.
Right.
And she was stood on the beach, like looking out to sea, and he went and like put his arm around her, and he said, I'm really, is everything okay? I'm really sorry. And she said, you know what? She said, the weirdest thing is I feel a sense of relief.
Yeah.
That I don't have that weight on my shoulders anymore. Now, I'm not saying that I'm not saying that would be a nice thing to go through. That's not what I'm saying.
No.
But the way he wrote that comment, I just thought, yes, I can relate to that because like I said, it goes back to throwing stuff away.
Of course it does. Yeah.
It just gives you this feeling of lightness when you just go, gone, it's gone.
It's gone, yeah. And that was when the boat went. It was just like, every time now it would go out because the cover was knackered on it, And I just think, I don't have to worry about that ever again.
I know.
I don't think, I need to clean the boat, I need to sort that out, I need to do this. And you think you've got a little bit of money for it as well. You just think, brilliant. And that goes back to the podcast we did a couple of weeks back. You feel like you're getting all stressed and over it because you've got so much to do before you go away. And then you start chipping away at these things. And all of a sudden it doesn't seem so overwhelming. And then even talking about it now, I'm getting excited about the trip because you think, we're actually going.
I know. We should do these podcasts more often. Let's just stay out here all the time. The next 3 weeks, let's just stay here, recording podcasts. And then we'd be happy.
You probably will. You'll be journaling and podcasting.
Yeah.
Doing your interviews, and you've got a whole bunch of interviews to do. You've got 5 or 6 to do before we go, and we've only got 21 days.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. I know.
And even doing these is taking time. I could be mowing the grass.
And I could be just doing my Pinterest and doing all that stuff.
Yeah. I could be getting the house even cleaner than what it already is.
Well, we're not going to clean the house. We're going to clean the house at the end.
Yeah. Well, we'll clean it on the Sunday morning, eh?
If you start, what I was thinking, we'll leave on the Sunday. So if you get yourself going on a Friday, I'll go out to the supermarket.
You get me a load of
get you all the
bit
stuff.
Of Jif,
I'll bring it back.
Sif, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, and then you can just start. So it won't take you long.
Yeah.
You just get on it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll be on it. I will be on it. I've got a few bottles of whiskey I've got to get through before we go. Before we go.
So if you are listening to this and you're thinking, this. I mean, it is super, super exciting. I know it is.
Super stressy, but super exciting.
Yeah, I know. But
the excitement's getting over it now, more than the stressy side of it.
And I wanted, before we just leave on the possessions thing, because as you were talking, I was thinking in my brain, the only thing worth worrying about is people. That's the thing you don't want to lose.
It's your health and people.
That's the thing you don't want to lose.
Yeah.
I don't care about possessions
and
cars and flipping crockery and pictures and whatever. I don't care about that. All I care about is people.
Yeah.
And as long as you've got your people, that's who you want to keep safe and close to you, and don't take those away from me. It's just, the rest is just,
There's a wonderful saying
superficial, isn't it?
Which goes hand in hand with what you're saying about Sadhguru, who said, people these days do not buy a car for themselves, they buy it for their neighbours. Bump.
Oh, do you think we should ask John what he thinks of our car?
Yeah.
We won't tell John that until we've asked him to give us a lift. Yeah, we'll ask him to give us a lift to the airport.
He's got a nice car, John.
Yes, I know. He's got lots of room.
Am I envious? No.
Right. Please do not forget, you can sign up for my newsletter. If you would like to follow along on this journey, I am going to be writing newsletters as and when and posting updates and whatever on my newsletter. So if you are not on my newsletter, you need to get on it if you want to keep in touch with everything that's going on. So to go to that newsletter, you can go to www.itsadrama.com/front row, as in you're sitting on the front row, as in you know everything that's going on.
Yeah.
So you can get that newsletter by going there. I would love you to join me.
And also, talking of travels, we did travels back in 2018 when we took our younger children of 13 years old and 15 years old around the world for a year. And Liz wrote a book called The Travel Bog Diaries. And if you'd like a copy of that, then head on over to thetravelbogdiaries.com/free.
Yes.
Is it The Travel Bog Diaries or is it just The Travel?
The Travel Bog
it is,
Diaries.
Yeah.
But you know what?
www.thetravelbogdiaries.com.
Yeah. If you're listening to this, you're obviously an audio person. Get the audiobook. It's fantastic.
It is, yeah.
Me and Brian did the audiobook together. I read it. Brian did all the producing and all the sound. Every chapter in every country that we're in, we use real sounds from the country. It's an absolutely delight to listen to. So you can get that audiobook also by going to thetravelbogdiaries.com, or you can go to lizdeacle.com. All these links I will leave in the description below.
Yep.
So
next one, we'll give you a progress of how we're getting on before we leave.
yes, we will. We'll be here before we leave. Don't you worry. We'll be here telling you everything that's going on. We'll tell you whether we've got our lift to the airport, which is important. And we'll tell you how Bride's going on with the cleaning because,
Thanks.
Yeah, we'll do your little schedule.
Yeah.
And that way you won't feel so overwhelmed.
Going on.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Get those. What I was thinking, Bride, is if you put a broom up your backside, you can sweep the thresholds before you paint them.
I already do have that in place at the moment. I don't think I can get it out.
Right. Until next time, do not forget, my heart beats with yours. We are so excited to bring you on this journey with us. Traveling around wherever we're going around the world for a year. You will be with us. I know you will. You are going to love this adventure. It is going to be inspiring. It's going to be creative. It's going to be so much fun. It's going to be real is what it's going to be. It's going to be real. So if you're not already subscribed, hit the subscribe button so you don't ever miss an episode. Until next time, I will speak to you soon.
Yep. So kia kaha, stay strong. Kia u, stay true. And if anyone can tell me if a broom handle can fit up a cat's backside, then let me know. That'll stop her, save on pebbles.
New Zealand is one of those countries that attracts people from all around the world. Greenness and nature and pureness and excitingness. But there is something about New Zealand that you would only ever know if you were a Kiwi and if you knew where to look. We start playing this video and you know when you're just like, oh my God, this is... In this week's episode, we're going to share 2 national treasures about New Zealand that really need to be put on the world stage, and we intend to do that. So let's jump on in and find out what those treasures are.